Meanwhile, a 12-year veteran of the New York City Police Department and mother of three, Officer Miosotis Familia, assassinated while sitting in her patrol car early yesterday. But if you watch the other channels, you might not have known that it happened. Unbelievable.
MSNBC's morning show giving the shooting absolutely no coverage. Look at that. While CNN gave it about a minute and a half. Instead, both of those networks, they wanted to focus on President Trump's tweets.
All right, why is that? Dr. Darrin Porcher is back with us today. He's a former NYPD lieutenant, U.S. Army veteran, joins us right now. So when this news was breaking, you were kind enough to join us in studio. The aftermath of this, are you afraid that we're beginning to accept the death of officers as commonplace?
Well, I think the death of an officer, it should never be commonplace. And it just alarms me from your statement earlier in connection with the other networks, because oftentimes I hear of other issues such as, let's say, Laquan McDonald. I see the coverage for Laquan McDonald that goes for months and months, whereas no one speaks on the 100 people that was shot in Chicago over the weekend. 15 people were killed. That gains a soundbite. When we look at a hero officer that was killed in the line of duty, it gains short coverage. And that's a real problem with the media.
It's the headline. I mean, you can see it takes up the whole front page of the New York Post.
That's with the New York Post.
Look at Daily Mail, same thing. We covered it on Daily News. We covered it a lot yesterday and this morning, obviously, but MSNBC didn't even cover it at all.
And that's a problem, and it goes back to oftentimes when we have officer misconduct, it gains a magnitude of coverage that far exceeds that of an officer that was killed in the line of duty. And so it begs the question of what is the media doing in connection with these things? Because ultimately the police are our first line of defense, and it's very important that we acknowledge them as such. And when we look at this escalating tension between police and communities, this cantankerous relationship, it needs to be stemmed, and I think the media can hold a significant piece in doing so.
The tragedy of this story, Doctor, is the fact that the assassin, essentially, was a cop hater who'd gotten into scuffles and was arrested for that in the past.
Career criminal.
Career criminal, targeted this woman because she was wearing blue, because she was a police officer.
And you know another problem that I have, oftentimes I see community activists, they stump for these communities. The communities of color are at siege. There are astronomical crime rates in these communities of color, but you will always see them come out for an officer that actually committed to an act of misconduct against a citizen, but they'll never come forward for the crime rate in these particular communities.
Who are you talking about? What groups?
Just nationally. I mean, we take in consideration Black Lives Matter, for example. I've yet to see them present or introduce a panacea to the violence in these communities, but they're very quick to come out when there's a police shooting or an act of police misconduct.
And you realize this is the best advice you could possibly ever give them. If they want credibility and demand coverage from all sides, they come out for a cop as well as they can come out for some type of misconduct. I was stunned by this stat. There are a total of 67 officers have died this year already. That is up 10% from last year, from January to July. Had 57. So this is only getting worse.
Absolutely. One of the things that a platform that Donald Trump ran on is he believed that there was a war on police and he was going to take a step forward and try to make some adjustments. One of the things that I think that can happen is Ben Carson being the HUD secretary, they can introduce a series of low-interest loans to these people in these socially deprived communities that can actually move out, create a sense of ownership in these communities, and in turn move out a lot of these drug dealers, these violent criminals in these communities. So I think that's a step that Donald Trump can take, and coupled with him being a builder. But it goes back to this vitriolic and this cantankerous relationship between police and community. It has to stop. And fortunately, you guys are introducing this as a media outlet, so millions of people throughout America can see and understand that this is something that we need to stem.
You are right. It's got to stop. All right, Doctor, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for your service as a police officer and a veteran. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right.